morning. A little bit of a different video this morning. It's going to be a full day of eating, which I haven't actually done on my channel before. But as you guys know, I'm in a pretty major deficit right now, thankfully at the end of it. So hopefully get some energy back in the near future. But this morning we have 100 grams cream of rice, 50 grams protein, 3 grams beetroot powder. Then I put 2 grams of iodized salt and 1 gram of potassium salt as well. And the coffee, always a black coffee for those of you wondering. This is my breakfast and also my pre-workout meal. Just preference, I really like training first thing in the morning. So I get this down, wait about half an hour to an hour and then head to the gym. Today we have a pool day, which I'm quite excited for. Training performance surprisingly hasn't dropped off too much, which is always good to know. My favorite meal of the day. But yeah, I'll aim to put all the macros and calories for the day on screen and go a little bit more in depth as to how my diet's progressed, how the deficit's gone, meal choices and why, and things of that nature as well. But for now, I'm just gonna dig in, finish this, and get ready to go train. All right, before I pop my little Cialis tablet, which I take 5 milligrams daily, I'm going to explain to you the rationale behind my pre-workout meal. Why am I having cream of rice? Some of you might be wondering that. If you're not, I'm going to explain it anyway. But pre-workout, we want a really fast digesting carb. Cream of rice is literally just granulated rice. So it's going to digest extremely quick, which is what you want. You want those carbs. You want those carbs taken up into the bloodstream immediately. That way, when we get to train, it's actually being utilized during our training. If we opt to eat something like oats with fruit, for example, is what I used to do, that's a lot slower in terms of digestion. So there's a high likelihood you'll get to the gym and not actually have the ability to utilize those carbs. But yeah, that's sort of enough yapping. Let's have our Cialis. Another thing is my intra-workout drink. I choose to have 10 grams of EAAs. I'll put 2 grams of salt in there again for hydration. A lot of people probably under consume sodium and that's going to be a performance limiter. So I'm not saying have an excessive amount of sodium, but make sure you are getting enough salt in the day. So I'll put EAAs, 2 grams of salt, 5 grams of glutamine and 5 grams of creatine in that intra-workout drink. Another thing I do 3 times a day is berberine. So after my pre-workout meal now, I'll have one of these. I'll have another one after lunch and then one before bed after my meal. This just helps regulate blood sugar and cardiovascular health. I've really noticed a significant difference in my hunger levels and stuff like that post meals. So just putting you in a better place metabolically. Apologies if I'm all over the shop. This diet brain is getting to me hard. But I'll also go into a little bit more depth later about how I was actually able to lose all this weight on 2,700 calories, because me, like a year ago, that would have never really been possible. So there are a few compounds and things that have helped a significant amount. I'm not saying do them. This is just all anecdotal and experimentation on myself. But all right, see you at the gym. All right, that is the session wrapped. Now we have our post-workout meal. Went for a little strut with the dog because I was just trying to delay having this meal as long as possible so I'm not hungry later, which is something I've been trying to do recently because I'm struggling to manage hunger a little bit more. Obviously, eating things like rice isn't the best option when it comes to being satiated, but it is a post-workout meal. So that is one of the best options you can have post-workout. Again, something that is a fast digesting carb. But yeah, this is the meal. We have rice, eye-fillet steak, beetroot, mushrooms, spinach. I think that's everything. No added sodium or anything like that. And then we have our plethora of pills after this meal as well, which I will throw on screen what I'm actually taking when I get to that part. But yeah, keen to dig into this one. Oh man, that should taste so good. It's funny, when you're in the off season versus when you're dieting, I could eat like 5 of these meals, double the size all day, every day, and it would be just phenomenal. Whereas when I'm in a growth phase, it's sort of seeking like those other yummy foods you shouldn't typically be eating, which is a mistake I'm not going to be making this time around. We're going to keep things clean in our growth phase, especially now that we're adding those, you know, extra androgens and anabolics and stuff and taking bodybuilding properly seriously. We want to remain as lean and insulin sensitive as possible, and that's going to reap the greatest reward from a growth perspective. Now, I mentioned before some of the compounds I used to make this cut a lot easier and having me get this lean at 2,700 calories. The biggest needle movers for me was improving my metabolic health, because it was honestly shot. I started in a really bad place from a body fat perspective and just metabolically. So the biggest needle movers this time around was number 1, retatrutide. You guys know it, GLP-1 agonist. Improved everything from lipid markers, insulin sensitivity, everything. So it just made my body a lot more efficient in how it should be functioning, especially after sort of ruining it with a plethora of binges in the past. Now, number 2, which has been massive, is SLU-PP332. Not sure if you've heard of it, but it's a mitochondrial upregulator. So basically the mitochondria, powerhouse of the body, a lot of everything and everything running efficiently is responsible by the mitochondria. Things like binging and shit absolutely ruin that. So SLU-PP332 improved everything in that regard. Also improved insulin sensitivity. Fat burning at rest improves dramatically because it's an exercise mimetic. So it's basically telling your body you're in a exercise mode without actually having to do the output, because it's just increasing your body's efficiency, increasing ATP, etc. Those 2 were the biggest needle movers. Obviously, I'm on testosterone as well, but I've just been on a TRT dose until like 2 weeks ago now, so that hasn't had a substantial difference. On top of that, of course, my food has now been like to the T. I'm eating completely clean, whole foods, as you can see, and doing that consistently for the last 2-3 months has got me to where I am. So yes, these things can help, but if you don't have the basics down right, you're just wasting your time and money. I'll put a link down below where I get all my stuff if you guys are interested. Again, not advocating for it, do your research, but these things really can help if you have all the other things locked in. Now's the time for our supplements. So as I said, I'll whack up on screen what all of these are, but there's a lot, so be patient. Oh, beautiful. It's painful when you eat your whole meal and you're still absolutely starving, but that's the nature of the beast, the nature of trying to get as lean as you can. Also excites me though, because I know I can, you know, go through a bodybuilding prep when I decide to pull the trigger, and it shouldn't be too much of an issue apart from having no energy every day or any cognitive ability. But yeah, that's my post-workout meal, and I will see you at the next meal, which is, I'm going to switch them around today because we're going to the movies, and my girlfriend said I can't take my fish meal into the movies, which is fair enough, stink the place out. So I'll take my sweet potato meal in there instead and have that fish one next. All right, so we have what would be the last meal of the day, but we're having it now, so the cinema doesn't hate me, but it's going to be our white fish, potato, capsicum, zucchini. So prep it for you. Zucchini, really good option if you're looking for volume, which I am doing in a deficit. So you can have quite a lot of zucchini for a minimal amount of calories, which is exactly what we're after when we're dieting. The way I like to cook my zucchini is just in the air fryer. Crisps it up nicely. Alright, that's the zucchini. We'll get our capsicum. I just pre-dice that shit. Makes my life a little bit easier. 100 grams of that goes into... What was that?
Nothing.
And the last bit is just the fish. Alright, so we just have hockey fillet, which I know isn't necessarily the highest quality which you can get, but I like it and it's cheap, so That's what we're running with. Straight in the oven, and that's pretty much the meal. All right, put all that on to cook, and then I'll show you when it's done. All right, here she is in all her glory. The optimal satiating fish bowl. Now, I know this meal is not going to be for absolutely everyone. I know a lot of people on here don't like fish, but it's probably one of my favorite meals, and it's just a clean, healthy meal. Something a lot of people underestimate in bodybuilding in particular is food quality. Like, there's this whole thing going around, calories in, calories out, and yes, it works. You know, you can't really argue against thermodynamics, but when you want to eke out as much as possible from a muscle building or fat loss perspective, food quality is going to be crucial. No one on this planet can convince me that eating 2,000 calories worth of McDonald's versus 2,000 calories worth of this food is going to equate in the same result. It's just not. Digestion matters, nutrient partitioning matters. All these things are going to come into play with food quality. So it's really important to actually have quality ingredients in your meal plan. Which, now that I think of it, is probably a reason as to why I've been able to lose fat on the highest calories I've ever been on in a deficit, because my food quality is great. In the past, when I dieted, I was just eating if it fits your macros and whatever the fuck I could think of. In reality, that shit's not really food. It's just artificial slop. So keep that in mind. There's a reason you don't see any of these high-level bodybuilders eating that type of food, because it's just not conducive with their goals. And yeah, you're going to say, oh, Lee Priest in the off-season. Completely different story. When you're so heavily muscled and you need that amount of food, good luck eating completely clean. But that's completely different to someone like me who's trying to put on that muscle. Also, I just don't have the genetics of a Lee Priest or a Ronnie Coleman. I'm white. I mean, so's Lee, but I'm 6 foot. He's like 5'3". That was a joke. I love you, Lee. But you know what I mean. Like, he's just a freak of nature. Plan of attack is eat this, get ready. I've already showered actually, so just pamper up, put my makeup on. And then we're going to see Odyssey, which I'm really keen for. Saw Spider-Man like 2 days ago. That was sick. But I'm really keen for Odyssey. As long as I can stay awake, because it's like 3 hours or something and I'm constantly fucking tired, so fingers crossed. Alright, that went down way too quick. I'm honestly hungrier than when I started eating it. But yeah, that's meal 3 for today. 1 left. I'll show you that when we are heading to the cinemas or when we get there. And then that'll be my last one for the day. And I'll try to sleep somehow through the hunger. Wake up, do it all again tomorrow before our mock peak. So, yeah. Alright, on our way to see Odyssey. So I'll probably give you guys a little review either tonight or tomorrow. I'll see, depending on how tired I am. But probably won't be able to show you the meal. I thought about it and I was like, how the fuck am I going to film this meal in the cinema? So I most likely will not be doing that. But I'm going to put the macros on screen here for you. The meal's going to consist of sweet potato, lean beef mince, beetroot, spinach, and mushrooms once again. So that's the final meal of the day. I'm honestly not feeling that hungry, which is surprising. It's probably because I've been chewing like nicotine gum every second. Like, I probably go through like 30 or 40 bits a day, which is not recommended for digestion and stuff like that. But do as I say, not as I do. At least it sort of helps with the hunger. I do notice it like holds a bit of water in my stomach. Doesn't always feel the best, but that's my own doing. That's what our plans are. And I will see you either a bit later or tomorrow when I give you the Odyssey review. But that's a full day of eating. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learned something from it. Hopefully some of the compound information helped. All right, it is the following morning. I could not be bothered recording after I got out of the movies, but Odyssey, probably in my top 10 of all time movies, if I'm quite honest. Just captivating from start to finish. If you told me that was a 3-hour movie, I probably wouldn't believe you, because it genuinely felt like 2 hours. And you know a movie's done well when that's the case. If you haven't seen it yet, highly recommend. But yeah, other than that, we've woken up and it's time for our cream of rice meal again. So a little bit like Groundhog Day. Another good movie if you haven't seen it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.